Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another Citrico Central Live. But this time, I got a full house with me. This is like my first live having multiple guests on, or actually multiple guests just for a live in general outside of OG and Mr. Webba. But before we get into the discussion today, I got to introduce my panel today. I'm actually going to start over right here with my babe. Abby is joining us today.
Hi, guys.
She hasn't been on for a while, and I asked her like, "You want to join the conversation?" And she said, "Yeah." What are we talking about? And she's like, "I said, oh, the Walt Animatronic." She's like, "Oh, I better check it out then." And then, of course, right next to me over here, we got the one and only Mr. Theme Park Conductor. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for inviting me on your live stream. I think this is the first live stream I'm on your channel for Citrico Central. Super excited. I had you on last night for Conductor Sunday live stream, so it was an absolute fun conversation, including Tommy Toon World. But you can find me, Theme Park Conductor, on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on X at Theme Conductor, and you can find me every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we talk all about the theme parks.
Awesome sauce. And then, of course, down below us, we got the one and only Tommy Toon in the house. How you doing today, bro?
Hey, pretty good. Thank you guys for having me on. Yeah, I'm excited. This is my first time on Citrico Central, so I'm excited for this one big time, man. And yeah, what's up, Conductor? Like always, man. It was a fun time last night, but yeah, I'm excited to talk some news today. You can find me on Instagram at TommyToon_, where you can see more like up to date things that I'm doing, and then on YouTube at Tommy Toon World, where I got a lot of food reviews, theme park stuff, and Vegas stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely check these guys out. They do amazing content. I love collabing with them, whether it's on their channels or they're on mine. It's always a good time. But want to say hi to the chat first, really quick. We got Debbie Diaz in the house. Hi everyone. My birthday is tomorrow. Well, happy birthday!
Happy
you,
birthday.
Debbie.
Happy birthday.
And then we got Mark McHugh in the house. We got Jesse Adventure.
Nice.
We got Remy D. Got Sean Williams.
Got a lot of people.
And we got the one and only Chris West. So thank
What's
you
up,
all.
Chris?
And hopefully, more of you stick around and join in on this conversation, because this is going to be a little bit of a doozy. So, yeah, as we were mentioning, we did a live on Conductor's channel yesterday, more so talking about like our final thoughts of like what to expect from the Walt Disney A Magical Life show that's coming to Disneyland. And then lo and behold, the next day we get a leak, not really a leak, but I mean, it was Disney's intention to leak it out to the public, of the Walt Disney audio animatronic. And I have to say, like right out the back, I was pissed.
Yeah.
I have to say it, like literally everyone was messaging me, and pardon my language, folks, but I have to just come out and say it. I literally went, what the fuck? Like I just like, I looked at his face and I'm like, this isn't Walt. Like, what am I looking at? Like it almost gave the impression that it looked like an audio animatronic of a person that was dressed as Walt. Then the more I started like watching like the vids and the clips and everything that people were posting online, that it kind of got a little better for me. Just because I guess more so that you saw the audio animatronic in action, you got to hear the audio and what have you, and I'm like, okay, I can put up with it, but I still can't get past the face to a certain extent. It's almost like you can see Walt, but it's like something's missing. Like something isn't, like something's a little bit off. For me, it was like 90 to 95% of Walt. I thought they got his mannerisms correct. I love how he's like sitting back on the desk and he stands up straight, and how he, they got the actual audio footage from the archives, which is phenomenal, because I'm so glad that they didn't use AI. And a lot of people were thinking that it's AI, But the problem with that is, and OG touched upon this many times before, and also on a show we recently did on Orange Grove 55 when we're talking about this, and it's the fact of they're taking the real audio, but they're cutting out the static, the oldness of it, because you have to think, I mean, those interviews were decades old, so they have to liven it up to make it sound like he's talking live. So I can understand where people may think it's AI, but it is actually the audio. But I'm going to actually stop talking right now. I want to get your guys' opinion, because after the fact that this happened, literally I was ready to dial conductor's number, and lo and behold, his name popped up, and I thought, son of a bitch, he's calling me. And I'm like, and literally I didn't even answer with a hi, like hello, nothing. I literally I hit the button and I said, I know why you're calling me.
Yeah. So it's so funny because as soon as I called him, he answered and he said that. I'm like, okay, first of all, before we talk about this, me and you have to hit a liquor store and buy a lottery ticket, because this is like magic in the making here. Because he was gonna call me, and it was crazy. It was one of those lightning in the bottle moments. It was insane. But after watching it, because literally I was driving home and then my phone started vibrating like crazy. It was just going off. And I saw it and I'm like, I was talking to George and we were talking about the same thing. We're all like, this is Walt? Man. Like, certain features of the animatronic looks absolutely stunning. Like his hair, perfect. They got it spot on. His, from the display where he's, in his office looks absolutely incredible. The fact that the animatronic can stand up and interact with guests is incredible. So out of 100%, like me and George were talking earlier, I would say it's about 95% accurate. But in all reality, personally for me, I'm trying to stay off the YouTube videos that are already online, because I personally want to see this in person. I don't want to watch it through a video. I could tell you right now, there's so many different groups of different thoughts about this animatronic, and the fact that it's been discussed so many times and put out by a statement by Walt's family. Some of them saying they didn't want him as an animatronic. Some of them are excited to see him as an animatronic. So there's a lot of controversy. So it's going to be a madhouse on the 17th. It's going to be nuts.
And that's what's kind of worrisome too, because like normally, like when you look on Twitter or X, it's basically a cesspool of negativity at this point. Like, so you can't really expect anything more of X, but when you start to see the negativity coming out on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and like, that's very worrisome to me. And I don't like that. That's because it's very telling, the fact that did they really put a full 100% into this? And I don't know. But again, that was just my knee jerk reaction, um, so to speak, of how I saw Walt. Now, again, I will say full judgment when I see it in person. So we'll just have to wait and see. Tommy, I'm not sure. I didn't get to talk to you too much today. Did you check out any of the footage? Did you see like any of the comments on social media? And what's your overall take on it?
I got a couple questions for you at the end too about this, but so just starting out, I know the fan base is a little divided. I see a lot of people online being what you said, negative about it, but then I see a lot of people being hopeful. But those people are more geared towards like the actual getting the completion and getting the full thing done, not more or less how it's going to turn out. So, man, I'm not even going to lie. My first reaction was, this looks pretty solid for an animatronic. But the first thing I thought of was, you guys are going to laugh. I don't know though, but they did remember when Coachella did the Tupac hologram?
Yeah.
So everybody was talking about it beforehand, and was nervous how it's going to come out, and people ended up liking that one. But like, this is what I felt like this was going to be, because it's not the Madame Tussauds wax museum Walt, right? Because I was trying to compare that one, because I feel like some people were comparing, oh, it doesn't look like the one from the wax museum. But I mean, this is an animatronic, so who was the last person we got as animatronic, or one we could compare to, is Abraham Lincoln. So is Abraham Lincoln's likeness 100%? I mean, you know,
Well, actually, and again, I'm not gonna say this to get all political, but it's just saying it as a fact. Look at the Donald Trump animatronic that's in the Hall of Presidents. It went through 3 different transitions. I mean,
oh,
literally, he went from literally, it looked like it was Hillary Trump dressed as Donald Trump that was impersonating Hillary. That's like, and it was like, that was the first initial audio animatronic. And then it
right.
went through a couple more transitions till it got it to where it is today. I didn't really see that audio animatronic in its full form, like in person. But I feel like, and the reason why I bring that up is, again, not to start any controversial topics, but just the fact of, it seems like that's Disney's pattern, where they kind of start out where it's kind of wonky, but then they move in transition where they make it better. And I kind of hope that that is the mark that they do with this, because it does need some work. Before I go to Abby, I wanted to keep this up. Yawn Smokes, welcome in, by the way. They say, I feel the same about the face. It's off. The figure looks impressive, though. See, that's like the caveat to this whole thing, is it does look impressive. The way it moves, the way he flows, the way it's like, I want to love it, and it's like I can't, and it like really pisses me off, because it's like, but again, that might change once I'm physically there.
Right. So I mean, so in my opinion, I expected all this from Disney fans, especially Disney adults. Like, I mean, it was bound to happen. I mean, conductor said, all the controversy beforehand, and then are are people going to go to this multiple times in a day? Is this a ride or an attraction where people are going to attend this and rope drop it after all the heat is off of it? I don't know. So I mean, like, are they going to keep refurbishing it every time to fix it? Or are they just going to let it go until it gets kind of weathered and then fix it then? I mean, I don't feel like people are like rushing to go see this unless you're a diehard Disney fan and you have this close to your heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
See,
absolutely.
see, you made a great point, Tommy. Until the heat dies off, from what I heard, watching a couple YouTube videos, but not like of this, but like YouTubers talking about it, was that until the heat dies off, until the virtual queue gets removed off the show, which probably won't happen for quite some time, it's going to be a one and done situation. So one showing per day, and that's all you get. So either the 7 a.m. time slot or the noon time slot. Now, when the virtual queue gets removed, then maybe people might at first go see it multiple times to maybe kind of clear their unthinking about the show, the animatronic and whatnot, and kind of get more clear headed. But for now, people are just, you can only go in there one time. That's it. So it's like, is that such a good thing in a way? Because if you got all these skeptics out there, which you're always going to have skeptics when it comes to something like this or anything, do you really want to, do you really want them to see it one time and say, yeah, I'm not 100% sure? Because the way I see it is, nowadays social media is so intense on everything. Someone could put a post out about a topic, and it sometimes, like this Walt animatronic, it goes viral and it goes everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Before I dive into Jay Shear, which, by the way, friend of the channel, good friend of ours. Welcome in, Jay. So glad to have you in here. But I actually want to. What's your thoughts on everything with what you have seen thus far?
So after he asked me if I wanted to join, I did look at the preview of the animatronic, and the body and how it moves looks great, and the face is okay. It's kind of like seeing the an animatronic of a, like when they have the face characters come out like an impersonator. So it doesn't truly show Walt, but it's kind of like when they have, like, like all the other actors come out, like to meet and greets and stuff. So it was okay. I don't know about like how, like, after this hype, how it's gonna be like popularity wise, because I work with a lot of like normies, and they were like, why are you taking the 17th off for work? I was like, oh, because there's like, it's Disneyland's birthday. They're like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, oh, and then they're opening the Walt animatronic. They're like, oh, they're really doing that. Like, and then
Right.
you really want to see that? I was like, yes, of course I want to see that. It's Walt Disney, and it's just like, I see it as, some people will do it like as a one and done, or other people will, like in Florida, we used the Hall of Presidents for air conditioning during the sit down show. So I'm just afraid of, like, of course the like diehards and like, of course, like Walt's fans will be able to see it more often, but for some reason, like, I just don't see his face. I don't know what it is about it. It's just doesn't like look exactly like Walt.
And we literally are the small demographic. Like, literally, there is not a whole lot of us in the Disney community. A lot of people think it's big. It is not. K-pop has a much bigger community than us as the Disney fans. But you would think then, if we are a small community, why WDI wouldn't have created this animatronic for us?
Yeah.
Because they're not doing it for the normies. They can, as Abby just gave an example, normies don't even know that there is going to be a Walt animatronic. So obviously WDI should be looking at us to say, okay, we're going to be the toughest critics because we know Walt
I know,
the
we're
best.
biggest judges.
Yeah, literally. And then when they gave us that piece of concept art at D23, that looked like Walt. Like, why, if you're going to give us that piece of concept art, why couldn't you produce how he looked there than what they actually gave us? That I don't understand.
Right. So, George, I had a question for you. So,
Yes.
would you have rather had this news and this reveal broken to you there and you get upset there, or are you glad now you could prepare and enjoy it there? Because to me, like, when I hear certain Walt Disney or, Disney songs from Disney movies, I'll get like goosebumps. And if they play that during the show, I mean, you're going to love the show, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. I think honestly,
Right.
maybe Disney, maybe that's why they did a kind of like a soft opening, so they can kind of get all the scrutiny and negativity out now. Because if I was to see that in person and I got that first knee jerk reaction, I would have been shouting out "What the fuck" in the theater, and it would probably would have echoed, and I probably would have been kicked out. But I would never do that. Not at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Not I would, but not Disneyland.
Well, see, I think you make a great point, George. With us as diehard fans, our voice really matters. It really honestly does. And like I said at the beginning, with all the controversy surrounding this animatronic, the show, everything, the real judge and jury is really going to be when the grandkids of Walt put out a public statement. The ones that say they didn't want him as an animatronic. When that statement does come out, that right there is going to be the judge, jury, and executioner right there.
Well, and also too, the family that they talk to, to get their blessing and to kind of, you have to think these are his great grandkids or great great grandkids. they basically have no connection to him personally whatsoever. They just carry the Disney name.
Yeah.
You know, if it was something in the situation where it was like his nephew Roy was still around or his daughter Diane, they probably would have took one look at this animatronic like, oh no, we got to go back to square one here.
Yeah.
This isn't my dad. This isn't my uncle.
Yeah.
So I feel like because they don't have that connection, they could be looking at it and say, wow,
That's
how
pretty good.
lifelike. You know, that looks great, which it does look very lifelike. I would just like for it to look lifelike, looking like Walt.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing.
Right. Give it kudos where it's at. Like when I first saw it, of course, after the first initial reaction, I was like, wow, this is pretty state of the art technology. Where if this was like something else, like King Thanos in the Avengers or something, we would all probably be like, oh my God, this is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But see, you make a great point, Tommy. Like, you know, the diehard fans of Disney in general would make that comparison. But since this is representing the founder and the creator of Disney and Disneyland and Mickey Mouse, and that's why this subject, this animatronic, is going to go through so much scrutiny. Like George said, that is why they decided to basically leak out what it looks like, show clips of it, show pictures of it, because they want to get all the negativity out of the way, even though the negativity is probably going to be there for quite some time.
Bro, I feel like Disney's proud of it, bro. They're proud. Like Bob Iger narrated over it. Like this is like their baby, bro. Like this is their last thing for the 17th.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm gonna get into that next because I have a thing or two about that. But before I do, Jay's comment. The only thing is that the Johnny Depp in Pirates was unreal how good it was when it came out. Now, there were some of the Captain Jack Sparrow animatronics that I felt like they made his face a little bit too shiny, like too dark, like where you couldn't really like see a lot of his features. But a lot of the times it was spot on, especially when they had like the real Johnny Depp go like face to face with the audio animatronic. I mean, that was like honestly like looking in a mirror, like the way that they did that. I wish that they had it on this level, but just more up to date with the technology. Now, OG had mentioned about, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily you know, scrutinize like the presidents, like in the Hall of Presidents or the American Adventure. But I did mention to him is that a lot of people, and I hate to put it this way, don't really care like of how exact like Mark Twain or Benjamin Franklin or George Washington really look. I think when it comes to Walt Disney, especially for us in the community, we are like the biggest critics when it comes to the finer detail. It's funny. Who actually said it? Wait, where did it go? Someone mentioned they showed it to their mom. I think it was Lene. I can't find the.
I'm interested in seeing other people's perspectives. Yeah, like
here we go.
All right, let's see it.
Yeah, so she said, I sent my mom a picture of the animatronic. She didn't know who it was. I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to send a picture to my mom because not that she's like, I mean, she is a Disney fan, but I think she became more of a Disney fan because I grew up in that, and she knows who Walt looks like. So I really want to see, like, you know, her reaction. She'll probably send me a message like, why'd you send me a picture of Gavin McLeod? But
or Mike Lindell. Hello, guy. You know what's funny, since we're all talking about this, I sent a picture to my dad, and I sent like one or two clips from YouTube to him, and you know, he watched it, he called me back, and he's like, no, this is very, very cool. But one of the first things he criticized, and I don't mean criticize in a negative way, but he had his thoughts on it, was that the facial structure which everyone's commenting on. He's like, it looks like him, but it could be better detailed. It kind of looks a little weird. But he said overall, the animatronic looks absolutely incredible because he told me, and he's told me many times, because he's a collector of baseball stuff, Olympic stuff. He has some Disney stuff. He told me as a kid, he would literally, wake up in the morning, have his cereal, and he would literally watch, or I don't know if it debuted in the morning or at night. I can't remember which one, but he used to sit in front of the TV and watch as Walt basically was in his office, talking about what's coming and whatnot. So he was very excited. But like I said, the one thing he honed in on was the facial structure, but he loved everything else.
Yeah, I can agree, and that's where I go. It's like a yin and yang. It's like it's like tugging on me. It's like it's messing with my emotions, and I can't stand it because there are aspects of it that I do enjoy. I think it's just some of just the facial is just like kind of throwing me off. But we got Mem was out in the house, and she said joining late, so not sure what the overall impression is on the animatronic in the live. I loved it. Is that an unpopular opinion? No, not really. I mean, I think it's just like a lot of ups and downs. As I said, I'm not 100%.
See,
love with
this
it.
is where I'm like saying, like, people love it, like the vibe of it, right?
Yeah. It's
Like,
weird.
it is weird. Like, I think the aesthetic of it and the way it's going to portray him, and then the way it's going to be set up, you know what I mean? He may be like behind the curtain, and then he's standing or sitting on the desk, and I feel like they're going to give it like some aura, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move on, I'm going to share my screen
Okay.
because I brought up. Let's want to make sure I got the right one. Yeah, okay. And we're just going to just watch just a little snippet of from Disney parks that they released, and it started playing without me. How dare they?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of satisfaction in developing ideas into realities, but there's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors, doing new things, because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. We're always exploring and experimenting. We're interested in doing things that are fun, in bringing pleasure and especially laughter to people. But I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing. That it was all started by a mouse.
And you know what gets me choked up is, like I said, watching Walt, talk and whatnot. But what always gets me choked up is watching that Steamboat Willie, because it kind of reminds me of when Steamboat Willie came out back in the early 1900s. How many people were, going through the depression. Times were tough, and the one joy that brought people out of the negativity of everyday life and just working their butts off to just make a living was something like that, something so simple, a cartoon like that. So when I see that part, it kind of chokes me up a little bit. It really does.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that, and I think honestly, like just being able to hear his voice, I think would be very comforting. It's just I just have to really see and wait, of how it's going to be fully represented in person. But I do love watching that little snippet from Disney Parks, because not even just with the show itself, but I love how they literally transformed inside of the opera house. They have a lot of uh, items from the archives. They have Jose from the Tiki Room. They have a bunch of photographs of Walt's life and the business and with his family. I'm for sure they got a lot of that from the Walt Disney Family Museum. But I also I was watching Five Fires. Shout out to Mondo that he was going through, and they have like this huge painted mural on the wall that's brand new of basically the future of Disneyland, and it shows a lot of the future projects coming out in the concept art form. So I love how they just kind of went full circle by adding the past, the present, and the future all within this building for us to actually go see the founder of who created all this.
Yeah.
So I love that aspect. It's just, as I said, it's just like small little things that are just in a big way that I just think in time they're probably going to end up changing his face. I think after all the scrutiny and the backlash and the negativity and even just the opinions, like even if someone just says, you know what, I don't like it, I think it doesn't look like him, Disney will take that into consideration.
Yeah.
And, you know, they may see the data of how many people really like it or not. And they may say, you know what, we got to do an update, you know?
100%. And, you know, one of the things I would personally like to see, because obviously you're going to have a lot of the Imagineers that worked on this project. You're going to have probably Bob Iger there, Josh, Daddy Josh, as OG and George like to call him. He's going to be there. And one thing I would like to see, at least for the 7 a.m. show, the very first show to the public, I would personally like to see either one of them or both of them come on stage at the Opera House and, you know, kind of do a little introduction to this show, to Walt before they started. I think that would be absolutely amazing if they did something like that.
They may, for like the first, whoever gets into the first show. I mean, personally, I think they should be doing it the whole day. You know, get their asses up off the leather seats and do some heavy grease work here.
Oh, there you go. Oh man.
But I want to bring up too, Tommy had mentioned about, and speaking of Iger, that Bob Iger is narrating the portion that is basically One Man's Dream that was done Walt Disney World. Now, here's the thing. That to me kind of feels like a publicity kind of thing, like that, okay, Iger's like, you know what, I got to have my hands in this, so I'm going to narrate it. Me personally, I would have loved for them to continue the tradition if they would have got like a Disney legend, like how they did down in Florida with Julie Andrews, or maybe Dick Van Dyke, or Haley Mills, someone that actually was connected to Walt, or even our good friend Slimer mentioned Bob Gurr. He actually worked with Walt in the park. Somebody that can narrate, that had that interconnection with Walt, rather it be than the politicized side of the company as the CEO is doing the storytelling. To me, I just feel that it was a little bit of a cop-out. But what do you guys think?
Tommy, you go first.
Well, now I'm a little worried that he may start diving into more. Maybe is this his initiation into narrating things? I mean, is he trying to get his voice out there, or was this one of those things where he had to pay homage no matter what? Because if that's the case, I kind of understand. But like you said, this is the political side of things. This is the business side. So I'm not sure if he's just trying to get his name. I mean, because that is an achievement. I mean, now he's imprinted, you know, for now in the Disneyland park, when before, I mean, there's not much, right? So maybe he just wanted to get in, but maybe it's a little bit of everything. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if he's going to start doing more. Like, you know, I don't know if I want more.
Well, and do you think also too, a conductor, before you go, do you also think too that being that Iger's going to be on his way out as CEO within the next year, was that really even a smart move to even have him do that? Are they going to change it, or is that his way of implementing his voice that he's still there? It's like, I'm not here, but guess what? I'm still here.
Right. I'm thinking that's what it is, guaranteed. I mean, he tried to get in where he could fit in before he left, you know? But like I said, maybe it's their baby. Maybe he's been trying to get this going forever, and then you guys know a lot of the backstory, and stuff. So I mean, who knows, right?
Definitely. It's interesting because the first go around with Bob Iger being CEO and then he leaves, one of the biggest accomplishments, of course, minus the scrutiny, was Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. That's what his legacy was. Then he came back because obviously Bob Chapek fell, hard, and he had to come back and revive the company. So, I kind of feel like with him, leaving in 2026, and we're only about 6 months from that year starting, to implement, his voice into the show. I don't know. It's going to have mixed reactions to it because, again, it's him leaving on a project that's going to have his, his voice on it, his hands, as I should say, working on this project. And I don't know how a lot of people feel because, quite frankly, a lot of people have issues with Bob Iger. A lot of people on some of the stuff he did. Personally, for me, the first go around as him being CEO and then leaving, I thought he did quite well with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. That was it. When he came back and he was reprising his role because of Bob Chapek doing such a horrible job, which 100%, well, not 100%, but I would say at least about 80% I would say that it wasn't Chapek's fault. I think Bob Iger was playing the puppet master behind the scenes and kind of let Chapek take the fall. But I just don't know. Unless his speech during the show is monumental, I don't know how I feel about it. Again, like George said, I have to physically be in the opera house. I have to physically listen to it, physically watch the Walt animatronic to make a final judgment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Before we go any further, I just have to address something really quick. I just want to just make this known that with this channel of Citrico Central and with this live, I want this to be a safe space for everybody. I want to be able for everyone to have an opinion, whether you agree with it or not. You guys don't have to agree. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and there's no right or wrong answer. You can love this audio animatronic. You can hate this audio animatronic. We're still even talking amongst ourselves of even how we even really feel about it. So I would just like to ask you all, please, to just have kind words in the comments, please. I don't want this channel to be a representation of hate, of destruction, because that's for Twitter. So if you could please just if you don't have anything nice to say, please just keep it to yourselves. And just, as I said, I welcome conversation. I want you guys to interact with each other and have an opinion. But if we can save the name calling and the negativity on that level, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. So like on a lighter note, everyone, this is not really opinionated. This is more on a fun level. So with the same topic, all right. So everything's done. All the heat's down. Now we're focused on other updates for Disney. Okay, months down the line, let's figure it out. Where does this fit in the Disneyland day? Like, so sometimes I'm kind of placing this with like, how you could go hand draw and learn how to draw a character. I don't do that every time I'm at the parks, but I may adventure out and do that, 1 out of 3 or 5. So like, am I going to go see Walt Disney every day or every time I go? And like, what part of the day am I going to go? Is that like, am I going to want to ease my day in right in the morning, or is this like a downtime thing? Should I go take a break here? I know you guys mentioned to use the Hall of Presidents, in the summer or whatever for air conditioning, but I'm trying to think, where does this fit in during the Disneyland day?
Like just on a regular, like after like all the premiere.
Right. Like a family's like, oh, I want to do this. Like, what time are we doing this at? Like
probably maybe like midday, like when the kids are all cranky and they're whining and bitching and moaning and complaining and crying and kicking and screaming and throwing
that's
a
when
fit.
I did Hall of Presidents at Walt Disney World. The kids started saying, "It's hot." Okay, I was cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be used for air condition, believe it or not, because I feel like we're going to be in the nostalgia part of it right now because it's brand new, it's the new shiny thing, but I think like as time goes on with like the normies and everything, I just think that people are just going to be like, you know what, it's hot. Let's go in.
Like the Lincoln show.
Yeah, just sit back and but I do feel like this coming week into the weekend, it's going to be the Opera House is going to be packed.
Yeah,
like
the most packed ever.
Nothing else we've ever seen before, and then it'll probably ease up a bit, and then it'll just like they'll have stragglers going in like every couple shows. But what I do love is the fact that they're still implementing the Lincoln show, that it'll just rotate, and I believe Lincoln is coming back literally the day after. It's coming on the 18th. So that makes me wonder if the virtual queue is only going to be for the 17th.
Probably.
Do you know if he got refurbished, Abraham Lincoln, or did he get cleaned up?
OG asked me that too. He asked him, said, like, did they like update his
right,
like the whole thing, or is it just the animatronic with the show back with Walt Disney?
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, I also wanted, speaking of the audio animatronics, just in general, looking at this Walt animatronic, and then also looking at animatronics even at Universal. Like, you guys haven't been to Epic yet. You will be soon. But for Ministry of Magic, and I don't know if you guys like watched some of like the videos online or what have you, but the Death Eaters, when they're doing the battle scene, those audio animatronics look so damn real that you think people are in costume.
Yeah.
That's like how high level those audio animatronics are in the Ministry of Magic. So obviously,
but you can't see their face, right?
You can't see their face, but just the movement of how it flows. But now, again, a lot of people can argue, like, okay, that's a Death Eater. You're not going to expect Walt Disney to be in his 60s and he's going to be flinging all around. Like, but it just makes me wonder that it just seems like when it comes to audio animatronics in general, I feel like Universal kind of has a little one up on Disney. And kudos to them, good for them. But Disney was the founder of like these what's so-called audio animatronics, and their competitor is out beating them. Yeah. Do you guys feel that same way? Do you guys see that there's a point where they just seem like they're not really adjusting the audio animatronics? Now, I'm not saying like the fluidity or like the facial of like, obviously that came a long way, but it's just like the overall compass of an audio animatronic.
So I kind of feel that you're exactly right. Universal does have the edge, but one thing I do have to say for all fans of Disney and Universal is that it's great for us because we're seeing two different iterations and two different companies coming up with audio animatronics. And as time goes by, things get upgraded, things get more lifelike, especially with what you guys talked about on OG's channel the other night about AI, coming into play now. And I kind of feel we benefit from it because when one company is ahead by a little bit, the other company jumps ahead and builds something or updates current attractions or current entertainment offerings. So I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a great thing, and it's a great thing for us because they're in competition with each other, which in return is an awesome thing for us to go see in person. So that's how I feel about it.
I mean, and what you were saying about Epic, George, I seen a lot of videos online about Frankenstein's monster and that animatronic looks crazy in the beginning in the queue or something towards the end.
Mhm.
That looks crazy. Like I see, Universal's up in their game. They've been coming at Disney's neck for a little bit, but I mean, Disney got it hard. I mean, they're trying to create their creator, so to speak, as a living thing, like bring it back physically so we could see. I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to measure with everything else, but I mean, I'm glad we got it. It's better than not having it, right? A lot of people complain. It's nice to complain about stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I want to add something. George, you were saying about the Death Eater and the Ministry of Magic, how it moves around and how it's so lifelike. From what I've seen about this animatronic, just the pictures and then the little clips, they kind of based Walt, from his older years.
Yeah.
So he's older. He's not his younger self. So I totally agree with George. You're not going to see this Walt animatronic walking around like a human being and throwing his hands up and maybe tap
I was
dance.
kind of hoping they would have had him do the Megan dance.
Oh my god. Okay, that's kind of whoa. Okay. Next, you're going to tell me Roy's going to come on stage as an animatronic, and they're going to do a tap dance number.
Yeah, that's
Dance
it.
battle.
Yeah, do the dab.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Chris West asks, "Are you excited to hear the final new verse of It's a Small World 2?" Absolutely. It's another one of those. Disneyland, as I said, is going to be nuts on the 17th. Excuse me, 17th. I don't even know why in the hell the 27th came into my mind. Because of the 70th alone, people flock into that park, and it's not even just for the birthday. It's an anniversary. I mean, it's the 70th anniversary, the 70th birthday of Disneyland. People line up on Main Street for the specialty cavalcade. They sing happy birthday to Disneyland by the flagpole. So that alone is already, you're going to get tons of people. Then you're going to have the Walt Disney A Magical Life show. And then you're going to have all the rest of the other festivities. You still have Paint the Night. You have World of Color. You have Wondrous Journeys. Because you have to think, people may have been holding themselves back until everything was opened.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a madhouse. And then on top of with It's a Small World, Conductor, I know you had a concern whether or not if that's going to be part of the virtual queue. I personally don't think, but I mean, Disney can make that decision like last minute and then say, hey, by the way, just for today, we're going to make it virtual queue as well. As I said, I don't think that's the case, but what I've heard with the song itself, they said it's going to happen in the last room.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't know if all the dolls are going to sing it in unison, or if they're just going to have maybe one particular doll, singing like how they did in the trailer.
Absolutely. So, and who's the artist that's singing that again, or the composer of that song?
Richard Sherman.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so just to update everyone in the chat watching this. So there's going to be 3 different areas that's debuting on the 17th. Obviously, you got the Walt animatronic in the Opera House. You got the Richard Sherman song in Small World. Then you got another iteration in the Main Street Theater, where they play the old-fashioned cartoons. There's going to be something in there as well. So there's going to be 3 different areas debuting on the 17th for the Disneyland 70th, the actual birthday, not the one that happened in May, but the actual birthday. And the other thing I want to point out is, and all 4 of us were together in May for the celebration, the kickoff of the 70th. And one of the things we kept talking about over and over and over was how low the wait times were for many, and I mean many of the attractions. Because a lot of the crowds that day were not there for the attractions. They were there for the celebration aspect of the 70th. So
The lines were so short that people walking into the entranceway of Space Mountain was immediately walking through the exit.
yeah, and Rise, I think when at one point, because we were all on Main Street, and I know I've said this story a million times, but I love saying it. We were just all hanging out, and then like all of a sudden, all these main, YouTubers, and I'm talking the high end YouTubers, just came over and started hanging out with us. Even Hey Bricky took over George's first live stream on Citrico Central, so it was a lot of fun. But one of the things I looked on my phone was the wait times, and I was astonished. I looked on there, and I'm looking. I looked at Rise of the Resistance because it always has a long wait. It literally had a 10-minute wait. I was blown away. I was shocked.
I want to come back to Lene, your statement right here, but I want to actually go to your other one. It definitely is going to be a vibe day for sure. Like, it's like the only ride that honestly I'm really worried about that day is It's a Small World, which actually is very funny because that was the only ride we went on when we went to see the Miguel doll when they added it. Which, again, I don't know why they added it in that time. I feel like they could have added it like with the final verse, you know. But I wanted to come back to Lene's other statement. I hope they play the pre-Disneyland show with Walt in that theater. That would be really awesome. And honestly, I would even take it a step further. We don't know everything that Walt talks about. They only showcase like a couple scenes. I think somebody uploaded the full show in its entirety, but I'm staying away from that as much as possible until I see it myself. But I would love for him to do his opening day speech from Disneyland. Like that would be awesome. Like, to all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here live the thoughts of, so on and so forth. But I would love for him to say the opening day speech. That would be awesome.
I would get choked up. That I would get choked up on.
See, I want to get choked up. Yeah, I really do. I want to be able that. I want to be a complete like wreck coming out of that theater. I want to walk out of that theater as if every time I watch The Fox and the Hound.
Yeah,
right. And I'm not. That's not sarcasm. One of these times, if we're on here, we're going to put on The Fox and the Hound. We don't even have to play the whole movie. Yeah. Just play that scene where she's releasing Todd into the wilderness. I tell you what, you guys, you would never see me the way that you would think ever again, because I am like sobbing like crazy with that scene. I don't know why. Always have. But I do hope it does hit an emotional chord with me, because I want it to. I want to be able to get goosebumps. I want my hairs to stand up on my arms, all 10,794 of them. It's, I want to get that emotional connection, and that's what I'm fearing, because I just want to be able that if what I'm looking at is going to be Walt.
So there's two comments, George, I would like you to get to. Chris West pointed out there are still reservations for the 17th, and then there's one at the bottom that's the current.
Yep, and I was I saw that one too. See, you and I were on that. We got to get that lottery ticket. So, Brian, yes, out of theater review, absolutely. I think that's actually a great idea. Just like how Abby and I do it with movies, which we just recently did. Superman, which we'll have to do another whole show on that with Jay Shearer on Orange Grove 55, because I have a lot more thoughts on that. But yeah, anyways, I digress. Just like how we do like out of the theater reactions, that would be a banger one to literally get my full reaction, whether I'm happy, whether I'm sad, whether I'm pissed. You'd get the full reaction of me coming out of that theater. Hopefully, as I said, we'll be able to do it on the 17th because of the virtual queue. But if not, I do have a guaranteed show, Abby and I, on the 18th, because it's for the D23 event, which it also comes with a Q&A with Imagineering. So I wonder if they'll like talk to us and how they how they came up with it and everything. And if they take questions, I'm going to ask, why the hell doesn't Walt look like Walt?
There you go. You know what? You put that on TikTok, that's going to But George, if you could pull up the Chris West comment that you pulled up before.
The reservation?
Yeah. So one of the things I by watching several YouTubers this afternoon. So whether you have a magic key or you have a ticket for the parks, yes, you do have to have a reservation. Obviously, they're all gone. They've been gone for quite some time now. So if you don't have a reservation, you're not getting in the park.
Well, do you know what's funny? Even with that D23 event, you have to have a park reservation to do that event.
So
if somebody didn't have a reservation, but they're like, oh, you know what? I'm a D23 member. I want to do that. Well, guess what? If there's no availability, you're not getting in. And even if DCA was available for that day, it's not going to matter because we have to actually be there by 6:30 in the morning for that event.
Yeah. Yep.
So if you don't have a startup reservation for Disneyland and you buy that ticket, you bought that in vain because it's going to go to waste. And 9 out of 10, D23 will not refund your ticket.
No. So I just wanted to make that very clear. So whether you have a Magic Key, D23 reservation, or just a park ticket, if you don't have a reservation, you're in deep trouble.
Yes. So Yawn Smoke says George will be a hero. I probably would be a hero if I'm sitting in that theater and they're doing the Q&A. Like, excuse me, I have a question. Yes. Why the hell doesn't Walt look like Walt? Like, if somebody could zoom in on whoever Imagineer that I'm talking to, they'd probably be like, I don't know.
So
yes, next question. And then I have to bring up Lene Ward. Yes, review. That's amazing. I hope they have Walt bought popcorn buckets and sippers. That would be like the top-notch sipper because they could have the straw where you sip it through his nose. Like,
Lord,
they have the straw like coming out of his.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Now the fandom has something to gripe about because I guarantee you, if they created a sipper where the straw is coming out of Walt's nose, it'd be like blasphemy.
That would be. Man, since you were bringing up 70th stuff earlier, conductor, I was talking to my buddy Kenji. Shout out Kenji. He is a cast member actually at Disneyland. This is just a little on some light news, so I'm not sure who cares or not, but they added the first ever colorful coins to the medallion machine. So there's 70th coins, the gold and silver ones now with added color.
Oh,
so there's three different ones you can get. I'm not too sure what the three are. They are just getting stocked up with it. Only in 2 locations. One of the locations for sure is World of Disney.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I like those. I like the coins. I just got some medallions last time, so I'm kind of, I like the new ones. And for this to be that, and it's still the same price, he said.
Okay.
Nice. Very
so
cool.
I just have to bring this back up because I saw Lene posted this a couple times, which is actually very funny because I had this conversation with Slimer and a couple other people, and I was trying to pinpoint it, but then when someone mentioned the pillow guy, I thought, oh my God, it is freaking Mike Lindell, the pillow guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is like freaking, like, that was amazing. Like,
oh man.
Well, see, like his, Walt's face kind of, for me, I mean, I feel like it goes down like a V more than out, like bulking out at the end. And maybe, everybody's making jokes. I mean, it kind of looks like Uncle Jose. I mean, he kind of looks like even Mexican, if anything.
Well, George, do you have a picture so we can look at him? Like,
I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go see this thing. Like, I'll run into.
Oh yeah, well yeah,
like everybody is, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. It's something to talk about, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and as I said, it's. Let me see.
Okay, but before you share your screen, I know usually the host does this, but I'm going to say my little 2 cents. If you don't want to see this part,
Yes, thank you.
quickly like exit because we're going to show a picture of him. So if you don't want to see what he looks like, don't exit and
Yes.
then rejoin.
So pictures coming up in 3, 2, 1. So let's see if we can get a little bit of a closer look there. See,
Yeah.
see, by this angle, see, this is where it doesn't look. See, and it also makes me wonder, like when they take these shots, if he's like in mid of like when he's talking, so
Yeah.
it's like making the facial expression look more off. But I don't know. That's just. But see, the body, the hair, everything is spot on. It's just the head and the face. Yeah, I just feel like that he had a little bit more of a longer, narrowed face.
Right, right.
See,
And I think
I
that's
didn't.
what a lot of people were thinking too, you know.
Yeah. But it also looks like right here, it doesn't look like he has no teeth.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
it looks like
Bro, that shit was crazy when he's talking though and you see the lips moving. You can't say that looks crazy, bro.
oh yeah, it does. Oh, absolutely. But
Right.
that's where I go back and forth. That is like it's like when I look at these still photos, I'm like, oh my god, this is like cringy. But then I
Right.
see him moving and I see him talking, and it's like you're having that magical moment. And it's like, oh my god, it's like literally like as I said, my emotions are like all over the place. I'm telling you, he looks like the pillow guy. He really does. um,
Well, man, shout out Justin from Amusement Park Pirates. Man, he kept it real. He straight up said, "We all just have to go see it for ourselves." You know,
Yeah.
these videos and pictures aren't doing it
Absolutely.
justice.
No.
Yeah.
yeah. I just feel like oh well, so Remy D says there are photos of Walt where he had more meat on him, and that is true. There are times where he was a little bit more thicker. You know, there were times like he did lose a lot of weight because when he was diagnosed with the lung cancer and what have you. It's just I don't know. He just seems like he's a little bit thicker in like the neck and like up to the. I don't know. Is this something I just can't like? I can't get past the face. I don't know why.
Well, would you want them explaining that? Like, hey, we chose Walt from this era, 1959. He was doing this and that, and this is the exact moment or something. Or do
Yeah,
you need explanation?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably ask them like, is this the era of like him being in his like 60s, like before he got sick, you know, like at the time? But I'm just very curious because Tommy, you had touched upon it because there are times like when you look at a lot of like sculptures and statues of Walt and everything, and they're a little bit more spot on than the audio animatronic, but also at the same time, as you said, they're statues. They just stand still. Like this has to move, and I think it is going to be a challenge no matter what, especially when you're dealing with a real world person. If it is a fictitious character, it's much more easier. You can make Frankenstein, you can make a Death Eater, you can make Dracula, but when you're dealing with a real human that existed, and then you really have to try to make a replica verbatim, and especially with us, that like as I said, we're the harsh critics. That it's it's like it's
Like,
a lot of back and forth.
right, I agree. Like, how would you guys feel if Vin Diesel announced a Paul Walker animatronic at Universal that talks to you before you take off in the ride? Like, that's more controversial than this, I think.
Well, to that same notion, how do you feel about them bringing Paul Walker back in the final movie with the AI?
Right. I mean, more or less, let him rest. But if his brother's for it, and his brother's going to come fill the position again to, get the face CGI'd on, I'd say more to it if the family's involved.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just add to that for a second. Tommy makes a great point. If the family's on board, then by all means do it. Because regardless how whatever topic it might be, whether it's movies, entertainment, theme parks, so on and so on, there's always going to be harsh critics. But again, with the Walt animatronic, you have the family that is still living today with the Walt Disney name attached, and half of them are saying they're excited, half of them are kind of like, yeah, we're not sure we want this, and then you got all sorts of people all over the place, having different opinions. So there's more skepticism on that than there is what Tommy was saying with the Paul Walker CGI, because if the whole family is on board with that, then obviously they have the blessing. This, on the other hand, it's kind of like 50-50. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's tough.
So Chris West is saying, do you think they will let people record? Do you think they will
Course,
let
I
people
guess so.
record from like beginning to end?
Now, yeah. I think now, since they showed it and advertised
Yeah.
it today and it blew up, I think today.
I think so. I think so.
Okay. Yeah, Yawn Smoke says, I mean, I'm excited to see it in person. Yeah, I am too. It's like, it's one of those things that it's like, I'm frustrated with, but like, I'm very optimistic and curious to see it in person. It's like, I literally, and I know this kind of sounds like a cop-out in a sense, because I really don't have one opinion for myself over the other. It's like, I'm like right in the middle. I'm like teeter-tottering and weighing the pros and the cons of this.
Yeah.
Same way. Same here. And I look at it and we take it in with a grain of salt till we physically see it. And even then, I mean, like I said, I still love that they got it done and they actually came through, because Disney takes a long time to show for it. Hypothetical, I like doing these. If this was coming to the Walt Disney Family Museum, I know a lot of people don't know what it is, but I'm in the Bay Area, so I see it a lot. This is a hat from there. I don't know if this would have caught as much traction if it was just debuting here, because this is more like of a historical thing, and the museums for history and stuff like that. So I feel like going here on Main Street at the Opera House is for those type of fans too, is those people that like to learn a lot and indulge in like the past.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. One of the videos, and George, I sent it to your Instagram, we talked about it before you went live, was that they were talking about and they were interviewing Imagineers and even a representative from the Walt Disney Museum publicly saying, "Yeah, we collaborated with the Walt Disney Company. We have on loan, I think they said like 30 plus different items that's going to be in the Opera House. Some of it from Walt's office, some of it from his actual home, some of it from just the museum in general." So it's very exciting to see. And like George said early on, one of the things after the show, of course, because the show's going to just take the cake, the main aspect of it. But as you're exiting, George made a great point, was they painted a mural on future projects. So in a way, because we talked about it on Conductor Sunday live stream last night, and one of the things I asked George, Tommy, and Jared from Capture the Magic was, are they going to bring back the Blue Sky Cellar, because that was in DCA, and basically the Blue Sky Cellar, if many people don't know, was a free attraction. You can walk into the building, and they have a whole showcase where you can see future projects coming to the Disneyland Resort. And that went away obviously because they made it a DVC lounge, which I still don't agree with, but whatever. But the fact that they kind of brought it back in a way to the Main Street Opera House, so people don't, because that's one of the things I brought up. I said, with all these skyrocketing prices, with Magic Keys, ticket prices, food, merch, and so on and so on, people want to see investment. And the fact that like Josh Tomorrow publicly stated the day after D23 that the Rivers of America was going away and couldn't even say it on stage, people are skeptics of the Disney company right now. And this Walt animatronic is really, really going to test the waters on the skepticism for sure on that.
And here's the thing too, I'm really surprised what a lot of people really aren't really talking about right now is even for Josh Damaro, because this is under his wing as
Yes.
being chairman of the parks. And the fact that there's controversy, whether or not you agree with it or not, there is controversy around this animatronic. I mean, literally, after one day, it like blew up everywhere. The fact that there is controversy and it's tied to Walt Disney himself of something of an attraction in a theme park that is tied to Josh Damaro, and he's possibly in the run for CEO. I'm wondering if he's going to end up telling Imagineering to go back to the drawing board and maybe restructuring some things, or if he's going to take that risk and say, you know what, this is what it is, you know. But I'm very shocked that for how much controversy that it has been throughout today, that they even would put themselves in that position.
Definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, we can speculate all day long, and there's so many channels. Like Mondo did a live stream earlier today on his Speculation Sunday about it with Danny, and then us doing it. So many other channels doing it, whether they're doing a live stream from their studio or they're doing it on location, like George likes to do from, his Citrico Central. But again, this is all speculation. We won't officially know until we physically go into the opera house and physically see it with our own eyes.
Yeah.
So it's all speculation.
Yeah, that I agree, and we will definitely have more on that. Especially because on Citrico Central, I am going to go live on that day. I'm also going to do some videos of It's a Small World. I'm definitely going to do an out of theater reaction to the Walt animatronic. I am going to do, if they allow us to record the full show, I'm going to record the show entirely, and that'll be a separate video to the out of theater reaction. So there'll be two separate videos on that. And as I said, I'm going to go live. So definitely all of you, please join us because we're all going to be there, boots on the ground. Hopefully, if we can get that virtual queue, that's the first thing we got to do. We got to get that virtual queue. That's like the hump before anything, because without that virtual queue, we basically got really nothing kind of going on for the. I mean, of course, we will also cover the ceremony for the 70th birthday and everything.
Sure.
In Main Street,
Right.
The world. Yeah, so we'll still do something, but I really would love to go into that show actually on Disneyland's birthday.
Yeah, and then I want to add something else, depending on where we sit at, because we do have a reservation. There's going to be 8 of us, right, George? For the 17th for Carnation Cafe.
Correct. Yeah, I think there's like
okay. So wherever they see us at Carnations, because we are going to have other people joining us for that dinner. We might actually do another live stream. I don't know if it'll be on George's channel or Theme Park Conductor, but we will be doing a live stream later that night, getting initial reactions to the Walt animatronic, to the Small World ride, to the theater on Main Street, and kind of just review everything. But like George says, please go check out his channel. Please join the live stream, because it's going to be absolute chaos, but it's going to be fun chaos. It's not going to be.
It's going to be literally like May 16th. It was like chaotic, especially in the morning with us trying to tackle the Emporium. Oh my gosh, that was worse than a crack. But it was like so thrilling and exciting. Like I love that stuff. Okay, I had to bring this back up because I just got the best pun joke for this. So Mark McHugh says, on a separate note, we are seeing the Lion King Broadway show in a few weeks, and hopefully Simba doesn't look like Mike Lindell. Well, in case if Simba does look like Mike Lindell, got the perfect person, because with him being the pillow guy, it truly is the lion will sleep tonight.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my!
I had to do that. I had to do.
100%, 100%. Just reading the comments.
Let's see. Chris West says, "Do you think they do a photo with 70 characters? Don't they usually? Don't they usually get like a number? Or is that just Disney World? Am I tripping?"
I don't know. You know one thing that would be a wonderful photo would be the opera house, inside the theater. You got the Walt animatronic there. Obviously, he'll be standing up. They can pause the show. I'm sure they could. Him standing up, and then right next to him, you have a photo where Mickey Mouse is standing next to him. Then you got Bob Iger, you got Josh Tomorrow, and some of the Imagineers kind of around him, and that's a group photo. I could see that happening as well, but I, you know, the I do have to say that the Disney characters, for the 70th, you know, again, the pictures that we talked about, because we did a live stream on my channel at Theme Park Conductor. We did a live stream on Orange Grove 55's channel about these costumes, and we were all skeptics about that. But seeing it in person, they actually looked pretty awesome. So, like Tommy said, a lot of times when we see these things online or someone's video, yeah, it looks great in concept, but until you physically go and see it yourself, it doesn't do you justice. It really doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's Florentin says, "I like the Walt at Madame Tussauds." A lot of people said that is like very like spot on, like
Yeah,
very realistic.
which is crazy. It's like how can a place like that get the Walt looking so authentic, but yet you got the company where he was the founder of this company. They have so many different archives, and yet they couldn't exactly get 100% correct. Don't get me wrong, it looks pretty damn close. That's why I said I'm giving it, me and George basically gave it a 95%, but there's still that 5%, and that 5% has uh,
It's a big 5%.
a big 5% because it's in the face where we're all looking at. It's not like it's his body structure or anything. It's his
Or his
face.
ass cheeks.
Well, that's true. George likes.
They're all covered up anyway, so no one's going to be looking at. They're looking at these cheeks, you know.
Mhm. They're definitely going to be looking at your cheeks when you raise those comments on the D23 panel. That's for
Yeah, they're going to be kicking those cheeks. That's great. And yeah, Lene wears it cheeky.
Good Lord. Oh man.
But do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap up this live?
Tommy, you go first.
I mean, I'm excited to see how this plays out, and when I see it in person, I assume I'll see it next month or in August. So I'll be down there. We got some plans coming up, so I'm definitely probably gonna catch it then. I mean, if we're too busy, then I won't. But
I know we'll
I'll be
have
down
time.
there for the
We'll have
Halloween
time.
season. Right?
We'll have
We'll make time.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm not tripping. I mean, I'm more excited for you guys. You guys are going to be there in like 2 or 3 days. I'm excited to see the energy. You guys are going to be dropping some heat, going live. I'm pumped for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And conductor?
So I'm super excited for it because watching some of the documentary about Walt Disney, his life, all the articles that's come out, I'm super excited for it. I'm keeping an open mind. I know on this live stream we all have opinions. We're a little skeptic about it because just looking at that initial picture, but I'm keeping an open mind. I'm super excited for it. I'm super excited also for the small world scene. I just everything going on. Like Tommy said, I'm gonna probably have to go check out those coins because it's kind of
Yeah, I'm
peek.
actually intrigued myself. I want to
Mhm.
see what they look like.
Definitely. But you know, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be an emotional. It's going to be very emotional. You know, there's going to be a lot of mixed feelings from a lot of different people. So the thing I can say is that you know it's kind of a good thing in a way because you got so many different emotional um, feelings about it. And you know, people that watch social media, people that watch YouTube, they're going to get all sorts of different reactions. So this is a good thing in a way. But like George said early on, I do join him on this, and I've said it on my live streams as well. When we do these live streams, all we ask as content creators is please be respectful. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That is fine. But please keep it respectful. That's all we ask, because something like this, just like we went through this with the Tiana's Bayou adventure when Splash Mountain closed down and got rethemed, you know, just you know, if you have nothing nice to say, just please keep it to yourself. But also, if you do have something to say, please just keep it respectful. And I do have to say, if you do see us in the park, please come and say hello. We don't bite. We're not Jaws, so we're not going to bite your arm off or anything like that. So
Yeah.
please come say hello, because
I charge for that.
well, George charges. All you have to do is just go to a hot dog cart, get him a Polish dog. He's good. But
This
you,
damn
you,
joke.
you know, but yeah, please come up and say hello. We love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we absolutely love it. And you guys know me. As I said, I'm an attention whore. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, come up, say hello. You know, as I said, I don't bite hard. But yeah, and as kind of roll off what Conductor was saying, yeah, I appreciate every single one of you. I love you guys on here. I love the conversations, the opinions. I welcome all that, you know, and that's why I want to have this as a safe place that everyone can have their own opinions and thoughts without scrutiny and name calling and all that. So that's why I did address that, because I know all you guys. I mean, I may not hang out with you guys personally, but I mean, from doing these live shows and putting up these contents, in a way, it's like I know you guys without knowing, and it's just like you guys are better like than that. Like don't feed into that hysteria. And it's like, and if you decide to do, please wait until I get Patreon, then you can go all Def Jam you want.
Exactly, or just go on X and complain on there.
Yeah. But as I said, I love and appreciate every single one of you. Abby, do you have any final thoughts?
I'm excited to see it. Even though how I felt like with his face and everything, I will stay like optimistic that seeing it in person, I'll hopefully like it will kind of be different, just because you never see like exactly like how the emotion is going to be going into there, and then seeing the full like show itself, then instead of just judging it based off of a couple of clips, and like you might not see like the right kind of angle. So I'm giving it a chance, and I'm excited to see it on the 17th.
Yeah.
If we get the virtual.
If we get the virtual queue. So we always have to add if to that, because it's like that's I'm gonna be so stressed out that day. Like,
Oh, gosh,
I
here
hope
we
we
go
get
again.
the 7 a.m. because if we don't, that's gonna be 5 hours of like waiting and waiting. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you're gonna be all. It's a small world. Like, damn. Hell
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like our Tiana's Bayou adventure all over again, because we didn't get the first virtual queue. Remember?
We got this.
We
got
got
the second
12
one.
o'clock one.
We did. Yeah, we always got the 12. Like, I don't know why. Like, the 12 was like the hidden gem for us. So we'll see. Maybe history will repeat itself.
Oh gosh.
But before we head out, I have to just a couple more. Lene Ward, idea for a question for George is to ask the panel, hello, Imagineers, is he fully animated? Wink.
Perfect. I love that.
And then there was one, and then Remy D. I feel like I would get emotional if I saw it in person, which, as I said, I'm keeping that open mind. There is a possibility it may surprise me where I sit down and I'm like, oh my God, like this was much better than what I thought. And that's why I'm keeping an open mind on it for sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I just want to touch upon something real quick for people that about the virtual queue, because we were talking about this, was that for the 7 a.m. showing, Disney hasn't officially announced it, but it just makes logical sense. Um, for the virtual queue for the 7 a.m., I don't think we'll have to be inside Disneyland to make that virtual queue, so we can be either on property in the Esplanade or off property. That's still not clear yet. But for the noon show, you will have to be inside Disneyland. That's a guaranteed fact.
Yes,
Yeah, because
absolutely.
that's how they did Tiana's. Also, is you could wake up right at 7, see if you get it, and then we went back to sleep because we
And,
couldn't get
and
it.
then I want to add one more thing. Like George, all of us have said for the 17th, it's going to be absolutely a nut house. So when we talk about being respectful on the live streams and whatnot, Disney cast members that day, they are going to be going through a lot of BS and stress and all that. So when you're at the parks, if you are going to be at Disneyland that day, please have fun, and please treat the cast members respectfully, because they're going to be going through hell that day with everybody asking questions. It's just going to be a tornado of chaos. So please be respectful to our cast members.
Yes, absolutely. And on that note, I think that wraps up this live. I want to thank Tommy and Conductor. Thank you so much for joining me on not even just your first live here on Citrico Central, but your first appearance on Citrico Central. So you guys got
Right.
a twofer. You got a BOGO. You got a buy one get one free.
I love
But
it.
I'll start with Tommy Toon down below. Where could everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, man, this was a fun time. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I love Citrico Central. I'm down to come back whenever you like. Man, you can find me on Instagram at TommyToon_. Get the up-to-date news, and then YouTube for the more long form at Tommy Toon World.
Awesome. And Mr. Theme Park Conductor, always a pleasure. And let everyone know where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. So, George, Abby, it was an absolute blast to be on your very first Citrico Central live stream with Tommy and myself. It was an absolute blast. But you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, all one word. On X at Theme Conductor. You can also find me every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we have amazing guests like Tommy Toon and George that were on last night. So please go check that out. And I will be doing multiple live streams on the 17th and the 18th as well from Disneyland. So definitely stay tuned for that. I will be posting multiple videos like George is going to do for Citrico Central about obviously the Walt show, the full show. I will be posting about Small World and other areas of the park. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Absolutely. And Abby, I know you're not like real big on the social media, but if you wanted to give your social.
So you can find me Abby Clavesia, and I help with Citrico Central's Instagram as well. I'm only on Instagram. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I.
She's like, hey, I can't deal with none of that other stuff. It's like Instagram's enough.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you guys know me as George the Disney Italiano. And I just want to do a quick plug before we go. I am an affiliate of the Magic Candle Company. If you want to bring the magic of Disney into your very own home, Magic Candle Company has a plethora of items such as candles, oils, sprays, soaps, anything you can imagine they have to bring that Disney experience into your very own home. If you go on magiccandlecompany.com upon checkout, use my promo code Citrico15 for 15% off your entire order. And that's not just a one-time use, folks. Anytime you go on Magic Candle Company, you use my code, you get 15% off every single time. And if you like to message either me or Abby on Instagram, on the Citrico Central Instagram account. Let us know that you made the purchase, and we will send you out some exclusive Citrico Central stickers and keychains. So I just wanted to throw that plug in as well. And again, I want to thank you all, everyone, for joining. As I said, I appreciate and love every single one of you. I appreciate the support. And yeah, all we ask is just, just be kind. Honestly, like, life is too short, and it's like Disney is what brought us all together. So let's enjoy it all together.
Yes.
And whether or not we agree, and it's, again, we're allowed to disagree. It's just be very kind and civil about it. But in any case, I'm George, the Disney Italiano, and as I always say in Disney Italiano fashion, stay safe, stay healthy, stay Disney. Italiano